Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to show you how you can use white noise and some effects to create drums in MSoundfactory. I know I've done this kind of before, but this is actually a different way. So if you've seen other ones, I'm going to use a different method this time. And this is actually kind of a follow-up to MDrumenhancer because that's one of the main things I'm going to use. So let's get to it. Let's first start with the generator here. I'm going to use some noise. That's the first thing we have. And the second thing I'm going to use is a bandpass filter. Now, as they are now, we just have both of these. I'm going to use the low pass first, and I'm going to change this to constant. Now, I'm going to change the slope to 24 decibels per octave and just turn the resonance down a bit. Somewhere like 30%, 20% is good. Now, you see the frequency here. I'm going to turn this way down. I'm going to turn it down below human hearing. So let's try like 11 something. Now, what I would need here is I just need a fast pitch drop. Another way I could do this is with a sine sweep, but I think it works a little bit better with sweeps in filter sweeps, I mean. So we're going to use the attack here. We're going to set this however we want it. I like to have slight exponentially down curve here. Set this kind of fast, like 31 milliseconds. And then the depth, turn this up. Like here, it's at 236, and that's going to sound really dull. You just hear like a small bass tone. Yeah, it's not much there. So let's turn this up to around maybe 4,000 or so. It's still really light, so we're going to have to turn the volume up. Just turn the input up like this. And now you see it's in stereo, and you can do that if you want, but I don't really like that. I'm going to move the whiting down to mono here, so my white noise is mono. So now I'm just hearing a little bit of a clapping sound, and that's what I want. Next, let's go into the FX, and this is where the real drum stuff is going to start. What I'm going to do is use MDrumenhancer. It starts up like this, and the first thing we need to do, it's very important, is change this to 100% wet. Now choose whatever drum sound you want here, and it'll give you the basic sound. From here, we can adjust it in several ways. So now this is in stereo also. We can move this to mono. If you like that better, you might want to turn it up. Don't go crazy with that, but you can turn it up a bit. And we can also adjust the pitch here. Whatever sounds good to you. Now, one thing I like to do is I think it sounds better in fast mode, but that's just me personally. Also, it'll depend on the drum, so you can adjust that however you feel is good. If you want it to have a longer sustain, and especially for snares, you want that more actual snares to come out, increase the sustain like this. But if you think, it's too loose, I want it a little bit tighter, just move it down. Like that. So you can adjust that however you want. Another thing you can do is adjust the character. Moving it to the right will add more treble. Moving to the left will add more bass. Or actually, in this case, make it sound more muffled. So this will, depend on your original drum sound. You can, adjust that however you want. There's lots of different drums in here. You can try like electro drum here, like this. And of course, adjust those however you feel. You can also use toms here. This. You probably have to change the output for some of these. But whatever you like, you can use it. There's some other things we can do with this also. So here we just have, one time I hit it and, it just makes a sound. But let's say you want to do a sequence. Oh, another thing I should mention here is the reason I use the bandpass instead of the normal filter is if I just leave it, it might make some extra sound. So let's say if I push a note and I just hold it. Oh, in that case, it's okay. I was going to say something. But normally if I turn this off, You see how it's like wiggling down there? Like, I don't want that extra mess there. So I can turn on high pass filter, and just put it on constant, bring the resonance down, and then just put this down like 40 or something. You see it's almost gone as opposed to this. And you see it's all the way up here. Like, you can definitely hear that. Whereas this, -70 or 60, you probably can't hear it. But in this case, when I put it on, I noticed with the snare drum at least, you couldn't hear it anyways. But with some other drums, it might make a difference. So that's one thing you can do. But let's get off that. Let's talk about the low pass filter here. As I was saying before, I'm using the attack for just one hit. But let's say I wanted to use a sequence. I can turn this down, so let's turn this to 0, so now nothing happens with this. Let's go to B just for ease of use. We go to LFO, so I can click this and it sounds like somebody's running like brushes over a snare drum. Oh, it's too loud, but turn this down for a second. Or like a quick, snare roll or something. But there's more we can do with this. What we're going to do is use the step sequencer. I think I probably showed this before. We're going to take this and just choose one of these. I like the sharp one here. And you can make whatever pattern you want with this quick Euclidean rhythm here. And now it's using the rate, but I actually like to sync this. If you don't, you'll probably notice like, hey, why is this out of sync if you use multiples of them? So here we have it synced up. We have the step sequencer, and it sounds like this. And we can even do other crazy stuff like this. Like, let's copy this. We'll paste it. Let's go into 1. Now we have 2 of these, and let's take this one and change the LFO. Let's change it to LFO2. And we can do almost the exact same thing with LFO2. Let's change it to a step sequencer. I don't know. What should we do? Something like, I don't know. This. And now we have another pattern. Make sure for this also you sync it. I did this a few times without syncing it, and I was like, why does it sound like the drummer's drunk? And that's why. And then you can do the same thing with the DrumEnhancer. Copy, paste. You saw in the first one, it's coming out of output 2. It's going into another drum, and I can just add, I don't know, what should I use? Let's try one like this. And see what it sounds like if I hold down a key. So you see, you can come up with patterns quickly and easily like that, if that's what you want to do. But let me show one more thing. So you're probably thinking at first, like, oh, just hitting it once isn't really that useful for like a sharp hit here, because like, oh, I could do the same thing with a sample. Why would I want to use this? But there are a few ways you can use this a little bit more creatively. Move this back on. So if I'm using, let's say, a bass drum here. Have the bass drum. And that's nice. But let's say I wanted to make something like a explosion sound. We can do that fairly easily just by changing the attack. So go in here, and instead of 31 milliseconds, let's make this longer. Maybe 800 milliseconds. And let's turn this up here like this. Now when we play it, let's hear what it sounds like. Let me turn this down because sometimes this can get loud. And you can change this to however you like it. Sometimes that kind of breathiness at the end, sometimes it's good, but you're like, I don't like it as by itself. But when you put some reverb on it, I think it actually sounds pretty good. It sounds like an impact or an explosion. So let's go easy convolution, and let's just find a hall or something here. Which one should I do? Like large, deep. Move this down. This. See how this sounds. That sounded pretty good to me. Let's try another one. Another sub kick. That sounded like some, thunder or something. Another one. Not bad. So you can see there's lots of like atmospheric things you could do that you wouldn't normally think of. But in a future video, I'll show you how you can do more with this and, use it for more sound design style things. But if you like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me a message down below, and check out all the other plugins at melderproduction.com. Till next time, see you.